All right, this is Mr. S, Naka Environmental Science, and 8.5 topic is eutrophication. So these are the objectives, essential knowledge, and skills. So go ahead and read over those on your own. I'm not going to read them all in the video, but basically the objective is to explain the environmental effects of excessive use of fertilizers and detergents on aquatic ecosystems. And at the end of the video, I want you to explain how environmental concepts and processes represented visually relate to broader environmental issues. Okay, so this is the process of eutrophication. Here you see a pond with the algae growing in it, probably very familiar to you. So because there are limiting nutrients in an aquatic ecosystems, when nitrogen or phosphorus, which are nutrients, go into the waterway, it causes eutrophication or excess nutrients, which fuels algae growth. An algae bloom will cover the surface of the water, blocking sunlight and killing plants beneath the surface. And then algae will eventually die off, and the bacteria that break down the dead algae use up the oxygen in the water. And that's because with decomposition, it's an aerobic process. And then with the lower oxygen levels or dissolved oxygen in the water, it kills aquatic animals, especially fish. And then the bacteria use up even more oxygen to decompose dead aquatic animals. And so this creates a positive feedback loop. We talked about this in the last video, but it's a review, right? Less oxygen means more dead organic matter, and more bacterial decomposition equals less oxygen. So make sure you understand that and are able to describe it. Okay, and here is the process, right? So the nutrients from fertilizers usually are flushed into the water. The plants flourish, right? It's caused a lot of aquatic plant growth, like algae, duckweed, and other plants. And then these algae blooms cause the oxygen to go down, right? Because they just grow, they fill up the whole area. Then the plants die, and then the oxygen in the water is depleted. And then you see that they break down and they cause all this muck. And so the dead plants are broken down by bacteria, using up even more oxygen in the water, because the bacteria also use oxygen. And then the ecosystem dies, right? Oxygen levels reach a certain point where no life is possible, and so fish and other organisms die. Okay, and so the main sources of this, remember anthropogenic means human-caused, are from nitrogen, phosphorus, like we said, and this is the same process we just talked about. And the sources are from sewage treatment plants, right? Because from human wastes, and phosphates from soaps and detergents. Animal waste from concentrated animal feeding operations, remember that acronym, and synthetic fertilizer from ag fields and lawn. That's a huge one. And so you can see from this diagram where all of these sources are coming from in the city. And so this just shows you that this is a progressive process. Oligotrophic is when there's low nutrients, stable algae, and high dissolved oxygen. So it'd be a pretty healthy ecosystem for the fish. But over time, this process of sedimentation leads to higher nutrients, and ponds naturally shift from oligotrophic to mesotrophic to eutrophic. So that's when there isn't running water coming through, right? The running water will keep the river fresh, and that's why rivers don't face this problem as much as ponds or lakes. All right, and this question will be in your assignment, but I want you to make a claim about which state's fishing industry likely had lower than average profits in the summer of 2011, and justify the claim with the evidence from this map. Okay, so try to understand this map and then talk about which fishing industry would have been affected more due to eutrophication. And that's all for 8.5, eutrophication. See you next time.